Hello and welcome back to Yorkshire Railway and welcome back to another train set review. So as you can see before me, we have the lovely Hornby East Coast Express, and I thought this would be a nice little sort of throwback set to review essentially, because I haven't actually done it on the channel, but I've had this set for quite a while. And the reason for that is because Hornby is actually bringing back the locomotive that is in this set back into the railroad range coming this year. So I thought it'd be a nice sort of inside information for those looking to purchase a new railroad locomotive. And that locomotive in question is the B17, which is also known as the football class. And the reason for that is, hence the locomotive that comes in this set, it is basically most of them are named after football clubs. So this one in particular is called West Ham United. I'm not familiar with football at all. It's one of those sports I don't really care much about. So yeah, I have no idea if that is a good team or a bad team, but you know, those of you out there might have different reservations on whether this is a good locomotive by the name if you support an opponent team. But yeah, the reason they were called the football class was because many football supporters would have been hauled to away games on these locomotives. So yeah, quite a nice one. So yeah, in terms of a train set, if you would like to get one for yourself, it is code R1214. I picked mine up from Hatton's for, I believe it was £148. So not too bad. But in terms of the actual train set, let's have a breakdown of what we actually get. So obviously I'm not going to take the box open as such, because as many of you know, a lot of my setup here is made from set track that comes out of these train sets. So yeah, there isn't really anything inside the box. But anyway, I can certainly go through it all. So pick the box up with the lovely artwork. We'll start down here. So yeah, we have the track plan there, as you can see. So this is the I think the negative points of this set certainly is that it is just the basic starter oval. I think with the set having a tender loco and two coaches, I think it definitely could have benefited from having track pack A included. But again, you know, and definitely for the price as well, actually, in saying that, because the HST train set has track pack A and costs a similar price. So yeah, that is definitely a letdown. Obviously, moving over, we have the locomotive itself and the two crimson and cream coaches. And then obviously you can see we come with the starter oval track, the re-railer, and we have the controller at the end. It's interestingly, it's the silver one. They've updated that now. It's sort of a bit chunkier and black. They both perform the same and they're both equally as awful. And then obviously if you want to do a bit of reading, I'll just pop that there so you can do a bit of history on the actual class itself. Obviously looking at the rest of the box, yeah, that's just the same. So obviously stacked in a shelf, you wouldn't notice much difference. And on the back, you can see there is the track pack extensions that you can get right up to track pack F. So that's what you can turn it into, as well as obviously the building accessories on the bottom. So yeah, I do quite like this train set. I think for one that goes, I think this is definitely one that if it came out today, I think it would fit right in the range. It's not too out there as a set, but at the same time provides youngsters and beginners with a nice easy way of getting a tender a tender locomotive that isn't a Flying Scotsman or a Mallard. But without further ado, let's bring in the locomotive in question. So here it is. Just come around the camera. So yeah, as you can see, it's a nice little loco. Definitely, you know, as for a sort of mid-sized tender loco, it's a nice looking loco, definitely. Where do we begin? So I think we'll essentially begin with the actual name crest itself. So obviously this isn't a etched piece, it is just plastic that's painted or printed on. But I'd say looks absolutely fine. You know, it's got a nice sort of metallic sheen to the gold on there. Yeah, stands out quite nicely. Again, I don't know anything about football, so it isn't down to me in terms of if this is a good team or a bad team, and I really don't care. We have separately fitted handrails on there, and they go all the way around onto the smoke box and around the other side as well, so that is great to see. Then we have this lovely orange banding. It's the one thing I have noticed compared to this and the Railways range, is that the colour of both the banding and the loco to me just seems that little bit off in comparison. Whether that is the case with the Railways range and this is actually more accurate, I'm not an expert on that, so I couldn't say, but both of them look very different, and to me this sort of looks a little bit more vivid is probably a way. I think it's too vivid for a British Railways green, but again, I could be wrong, so drop that down in the comments. You know, it's always good to, I like learning about these things, so certainly if I say something out of touch, correct me. Obviously, going down to the running plate here, we have this lovely orange banding as well, if you can quite see that, so that's quite nice. That follows the whole running plate as well. Doesn't look to be all that straight. It is sort of bending a little bit here and flicks up and then goes down, so yeah, I think definitely a die-cast chassis could be of a benefit, but again, it's not that noticeable. It's only sort of under these close reviews that you do notice it. Obviously, moving to the front, we have metal buffers, but they're not sprung, but again, good to see on a Railroad range loco that we have metal buffers at least. Obviously at the front, you can probably see me holding it in my hands. I think this is the biggest detractor from this locomotive, and that is the front pony truck with the bogies. Main reason, obviously it's got these steps on it, so the steps aren't part of the moulding. Sorry about the plane that's going across. Yeah, the steps aren't part of the moulding, and as you can see with the tilt that's on there, I don't know what corners this loco is going to be taking to have to tilt that much, but yeah, it makes it look very unrealistic going around corners. But again, not you know, too much of an issue on a railroad loco. As I'm moving to the front with the smoke box, lovely printing on the number, so we've got 61672, and again, obviously that I love that handrail that sort of goes around the whole top of that. That's really, really nice to see. Obviously, looking onto the top of the loco, if you can quite see, there we go. So there is a little bit of a mould line, and I'd say it shows up more on the smoke box than it does on the rest of the loco. It's quite, in some areas, I mean here, you can only just feel it, so it's a bit of a strange one really, but definitely it's a bit more noticeable at the front of the smoke box there. Again, plastic chimney, plastic dome, and the whistles and the safety valves are plastic as well, but they have a really, really nice metal finish on there. Obviously, moving towards the cab, we have some lovely glazing in there, and there's no noticeable glue, so that is a lot better than my 9F was. Obviously, we have the letters again, 61672. They are sort of very, very flat. I don't know if that is the case in real life, but yeah, I do notice that on the railroad range, they don't tend to make them the 3D. Oh, sorry, I got like a frog in my throat then. They don't tend to make them the 3D effect on the railroad range, but again, we've got some moulded steps there as well, and there's some lovely banding around the sides as well as these handles, although that one doesn't look that straight. It is sort of flicking up to the back, so yeah, it's not been put on all too straight. And again, on the back of the tender, we've got some lovely grab handles there as well. That's very nice to see. We'll come to the cab in a second because I'll show you the tender in a bit more detail. So yeah, we've got a lovely crest on the tender, and interestingly enough, the chassis for the tender is die cast. So yeah, really, really solid build on there. I do like that as a feature. Obviously, a bit strange. It doesn't add weight obviously to the loco, but it's got to pull a bit of a heft around. So yeah, bit of a strange one. And interestingly enough, what I could do is I could show you the DCC socket, because it's dead easy to fit this. So again, you literally just pull the tender off, and it's got quite a secure fit. But there is the DCC socket. So we've got an 8-pin socket in there and enough room for a speaker. Obviously, there's plenty of holes at the bottom as well to allow sound out. So yeah, should have no issues with that at all. And that obviously lets us have a little bit better look inside the cab. As you can see, there's no painted detail in there. Although strangely, and I don't know if it's just me, but can you see inside the firebox? That is open, Now, I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever actually looked inside the firebox of this when I've been running around, but I'm pretty sure that has an LED there. And I'm pretty sure that this loco doesn't have a flickering firebox. How strange. So it has the capability to have the flickering firebox, but they haven't fitted one. I mean, I could always fit one at a later date, but I don't know if you can quite see it, but if you can, does that or does that not look like an LED circuit board in there? This loco is a strange one. Yeah, I'll move it on. But yeah, it's not got printed detail inside there, but it has got lovely moulding detail. So yeah, you could always paint that yourself. And then we'll take a look at the tender. Now I've actually got it off, because it gives us a little bit of more insight into it. So yeah, again, lovely British Railways crest and lovely banding on there as well. Got these lovely separately fitted handrails on there. Obviously inside the sort of cab area, got a little bit of coal spillage coming through for the firemen to get. Again, no sort of painted detail, but yeah, lovely moulding. We've got these sort of boxes on top. Yeah, doesn't look too bad. Obviously to the rear, we've got the steps and the grab handles. On top, we've got the water filler cap, and probably another negative to this loco is the coal load. So yeah, it's a awful looking coal load. It looks very, very dated is probably the best way of saying this. Very dated because it's very chunky, and it just doesn't look, it's not very well defined is probably the easiest way to say. It just looks like a molded piece of plastic. And the only downside to this is, as you can see, it's not removable. So the only way of sort of fitting a realistic coal load is you'd have to be very, very careful and chop this out so you could remove it, and then have to basically like put a blank piece of plastic across there so you could fill it up. Or if you're very, very careful, you could essentially just scatter some coal on top of this with a bit of glue on top. It would slightly raise it a little bit over, but yeah, might make it a little bit better looking. But yeah, not too much of an issue. Again, it obviously is a railroad locomotive. And then in terms of just fitting it back on, I know it's a little bit dropped below the camera, but it just clips straight back on, and it is a nice secure fit. So yeah, I don't have to worry about it dropping off. So yeah, that is the locomotive. I'll pop that to one side. Let's grab a coach. I think we'll just do with guard coach, because again, they're both the same. Just obviously the guard coach has the better detail. So yeah, a lovely, lovely coach. I do like these. Oh, one thing I forgot to point out with the loco as well is it hasn't got the horrible, ugly D-type couplings either. It does have a NEM socket on there, and also NEM sockets on the coaches. So yeah, really, really nice to see that modern feature coming through from a railroad loco. So yeah, these coaches, they are a bit lightweight. They do come with metal wheels, although they are a little bit on the draggy side. But again, a loco of this size isn't going to be hauling many. It's made for sort of short commuter journeys. Yeah, it's very plasticky. Buffers, I did think the other day, I was like, are these metal? And then I've had a bit more of thinking about it, and they are definitely plastic. But yeah, nice corridor connection. It is just I think it is actually separately fitted, but yeah, it's not like rubberized or anything. It's just a plastic part. Some lovely steps going up the side. So yeah, you can see them. Very, very nice to see that. Very, very well defined. Again, obviously nothing is painted on here. That is the only downside to this, but you can see sort of all the cables and whatnot on the side. Colour-wise, I do like it. It is very sort of matte, but it's got a nice definition between the crimson, this yellow banding that goes through that before you get to the cream, and again at the top you've got a yellow band, and then this sort of crimson band that lines the top. Obviously at the bottom we've got some nice printed, we've got emergency lighting point, we've got the guard, and then at the rear E34738, and then load 2.5 tons distributed. So yeah, quite nice. Obviously you can see there is a little bit of interior, if you can just get a check through the window. So yeah, this is a corridor coach, and we have got compartments on the other side, and then we've got nice moulding on the top. Yeah, it's not anything to write home about, but it's definitely defined enough that you can tell what it is. Yeah, solid coach really. So anyway, what I'm going to do with this loco, because it has sort of been sat for a while, I'm going to get this on the rolling road. It's one of the best things I have purchased, a rolling road, so that way I'll be able to show you the test and the performance of the loco, and then we'll see how it performs once it's been ran in for a little bit. So I'm going to treat it as if it is a new loco, give it a full hour's running, and then we'll see how the performance is, if it's enhanced, or we'll just send it around the track. So yeah, I'll cut to the rolling road now. Okay, so down onto the rolling road, as you can see. So we're just going to up the power now, and we'll see how the performance is. Again, obviously I'm treating this a little bit like a new loco because it's been sat around for a while. I don't tend to run it all too much. So again, buzzing, nothing really concerns me these days with the major buzzing, because it is the Hornby controller. It does tend to. Oh, there we go, sort of jumping into life. Yeah, so not a crawl as such, but I'd say a little bit of a coggy slow speed. Again, obviously DCC probably find better speed control with this, but this is just analog with the worst of the worst analog controllers. Certainly Gauge Master do a lot better, but yeah, it's not horrendous. I've certainly seen a lot better, but as for railroad locomotives, slow speed's not too bad. Get a bit more juice. It's got quite a nice, yeah, nice running speed. Right on the controller. That's a 50%. Which is quite a nice speed. Yeah, it's not too fast. Definitely been a little bit sensibly geared, I'd probably say. Yeah. Just taking it a little bit further there, but yeah, not too bad. Let's see how it does in reverse. Now, I've known some locos to perform a crawl better in reverse than in the forwards direction, which I find a bit strange. And this would be one of them. So this has started a lot. Obviously, yeah, it's very coggy, but that is going slower in reverse than it is in the forwards direction. Very, very strange. But again, it allows you to do a nice smooth couple up to the coaches, I guess. But yeah, for push and pull services, this isn't going to be the smoothest the opposite way around. Yeah, quite nice. Yeah, nice performance. Not brilliant, but it's nice, definitely. But again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow it time to run in for half an hour in the forwards direction, half an hour in reverse, and we'll see if the performance comes alive a little bit now that it's had a chance to sort of warm up a little bit, I'd say. So yeah, we'll pop back in a little bit. Also, just for anybody wondering about the weird LED circuit, I've upped the power just a little bit just to see if there was any lights, but yeah, as you can see, nothing coming out of the cab, so a bit of a strange one. I think I might take this apart after I've finished the review and just have a look if it is a PCB board, just to see if there is any actual LEDs there, if I can connect them. But you know, by the looks of it, there definitely is space to be able to do that, so it might be something to upgrade in the future. But yeah, as standard, doesn't come with a firebox flicker, which I'll be honest, I did think at the time, I was like, I've never noticed that, and it does seem a bit strange for a railroad locomotive to have that feature. It is a bit more of a premium feature to pay for. But yeah, as you can see, nothing in there. Okay, so we've been running in for about an hour now, so let's see if any performance has been enhanced. As I say, it's not a new model. I have had it since new, but yeah, it's been sat for a while basically. So I just thought, yeah, give it a quick run in, treat it like a new model. Let's see if any performance has been brought back to life. Obviously, probably would benefit from a service as well, but I haven't got time for that today. Right, so a little bit of a jumper life then. There we go, so that's probably the slowest. I'm going to get it to go in forwards. Not really a crawl, but again, railroad models don't tend to have the best crawl. Cut out there. Just keep upping it. Yeah, so I've got relatively slow speed, but not super slow. A little bit disappointing, but again, results may vary on DCC. But yeah, regular running speed, I think it looks fantastic. You know, there's no qualms with that at all. Let's try reverse again. I remember obviously this was pretty good the first time around, so let's see. Upping the power. Yes, it engages a lot earlier on the controller. So you can see, that's sort of as slow and it's consistent, it's not cutting out there. It is a little bit on the coggy side. But yeah, it's super controlled in reverse. It is very strange. Yeah, just super strange. Anyway, I think what we need to do now is we need to get the loco down onto the track. I'll get it hooked up to the coaches and we will send it for a run around the layout. I also need to reconnect the second track so we can we'll get two trains running at the same time. I think that'll be a exciting one to go for. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty pleased with the performance. Okay, so we have the lovely B17 West Ham United down onto the actual track this time, and I've got it connected to its rake of Mark 1 coaches. So we'll up the power and we'll send the hand of God. There we go. What is happening? There we go. They've been absolutely fine. All of a sudden, wants to cut out. Anyway, on the inside line, we have, I'll just bring it closer into shot, we have the K1. Again, a locomotive, I picked this because it's a sort of similar size to the B17, a little bit smaller. In fact, it's only got 2 bogies rather than 4. But again, a similar sort of size locomotive. So yeah, should be a nice one to go around. And I've got it on a nice little short lumber train. So yeah, we'll send that around the layout and we'll get some footage of them both running around. Here comes the lovely B17. Little jolts. Not sure if there's a bit of dirty track or anything, but I've ran some locos around recently and everything seems to be fine. So yeah, not really sure what's going off there. But no trouble around the rest of the track, so yeah, maybe I need to go around and give a bit of a clean. But yeah, seems to be handling the coaches fine. K1's running a little bit fast, I think. Who cares really, in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, as you can see, handling point work absolutely fine, you know, navigating the curve points, which can sometimes be a bit dubious. But yeah, it's absolutely a decent runner. It's not bad. I wouldn't put it in the great category, but make no remarks really. It's not a bad little loco. Yeah, just a simple pleasure really. So yeah, I'd definitely say when the new B17 comes out in at some point this year, yeah, you know, it gets a thumbs up from me. It's not a terrible loco, it's not a great loco, but it's all right. It's not bad. Say if you're looking for a cheap tender loco, it's worth picking up. Okay, so it's time for the ratings. So this is for Hornby's East Coast Express train set. And we'll start off with the performance, which I've awarded 3 stars. Main reason for this is, well, as you saw in the video, it is terrible at a crawl. Not too bad in the reverse directions, but certainly in the forwards, it's not brilliant. Yeah, it's one of those. I presume it is a motor issue. Certainly with sort of these railroad locos, they tend to have quite cheap motors, but I'm not really sure whether it's the way it's geared or it's just the motor itself just hasn't got that torque to turn the wheels in a forwards direction, and whether it is a little bit easier in the reverse, I have no idea. But I've got quite a few locos that must run the similar sort of motor that's in this, because they seem to be pretty good in the reverse direction. They can sort of do quite a slow speed, so for coupling up to coaches, absolutely fine. But if you run like say a push and pull service, it's not going to be brilliant because you can't do that in the forwards direction. So yeah, a little bit of a shame in that. However, I will say at a sort of slow running speed or regular sort of like prototypical express speed, it's absolutely fine. I've got no faults with it whatsoever. And at the end of the day, it is a train set loco. It's not made to be super realistic in a sense of the way it runs. It is just made to be run around the track, and especially if anyone was like me as a child, you want to stick it up to 100 and let it run around as fast as possible. So yeah, in terms of that, it will do you fantastically well. Detail wise, again, 3 stars we've awarded. Main reason for this is obviously it is a railroad loco, so compared in terms of reviewing this to like the high spec locos, there are features that this will never have because it is simply a basic model, which there's nothing wrong with that. But it's hard to award it above a 3 stars. So the reason why I've given it 3 stars, separately fitted parts, we've got some quite nice ones on here. The separately fitted handrails that are lovely. They're nice and straight. Stands out really, really well, and it does appear to be made of metal as well, so that is great to see. Obviously the whistles on the top are just plastic, but again, a nice finish to them. They look pretty decent. And the same with the nameplate as well. It's not a metal plate. It is just sort of a printed detail. But again, absolutely fantastic. Things that let it down. The coal load is obviously 1, not removable, but 2, it's very, very chunky and does look like a big mess of moulded plastic. Again, it's one of those that it can be fixed, but yeah, it's not great compared to say the more recent railroad renditions that have the removable coal loads. In terms of the cab, yeah, again, that's a bit of a shame as well. There's no painted cab detail, it is just moulded plastic, and obviously it does look like we have the spot for the flickering firebox, but again, on a railroad loco, it's not to be expected that you're going to get that kind of treatment as such as we would with the higher spec models. Features, obviously, it does include, we've got the metal sprung buffers, so that is nice. The steps on the bogies are a bit of an annoyance. I don't like that at all. I would prefer it if they were moulded to the running plate. Obviously, in terms of the upgrades as well, we've got the NEM pockets, we've got the DCC socket that is in the tender, so that is great to see as well. So yeah, it's got quite a good bit of detail and added features to this from the basic model it once started out at. Livery wise, I know I made a bit of a mistake by saying British Railways green. I've done a little bit more sort of research since filming the video, and I've realised that there's actually 2 shades. So we've got British Railways green, but we've also got British Railways Brunswick green, which this one appears to be. So certainly I will say it's not vivid compared to the British Railways. It is a different colour altogether, which looking at it, I think they've got it pretty alright. I've awarded it 3 stars again for the livery. Main reason being is it's down to the banding really. I did notice, I don't think I really pointed it out too well in the video, a couple of the bands round on the boiler are just fraying that little bit, and once you've sort of noticed it, it's a bit detracting from the rest of it, so it is a bit of a shame. Again, obviously we don't have the etched metal nameplates. It is just a printed decal, but yeah, it looks the part. but again, lacks that finesse. Same with the whistles on top and the safety valves. Yeah, it would be better if they were metal, but again, the finish on them is quite nice. So yeah, can't really say too much about that. Quality wise, again, we've gone for 3 stars. There are a few quality issues, I would say, on this loco. One being the running plate. It's quite noticeable. You can see in the photo of the loco next to the ratings, but you can see towards the front of the smoke box there is just that flick up, and once it's noticed, it's quite bad compared to like some other locos in my collection that do suffer with it. I've tried it with like sort of a straight rule, and they do suffer with it, but it's not that noticeable unless you're looking at it. But this is, and it does detract quite a lot from the loco itself. Uh, Again, obviously the top of the boiler does have that mould line. It's not that noticeable on the actual boiler itself, but certainly at the smoke box end, it's quite noticeable. I don't know if it's just down to the black coloration of it, but yeah, is a little bit noticeable. Again, coal load's not brilliant, but also we have got features that have sort of made this from a lesser quality to a good quality. Obviously, it's been upgraded with NEM pockets, so that is great. We've got the DCC socket in the tender, and obviously there's enough room for a speaker. It doesn't come pre-fitted with one, but again, I wouldn't expect that from a Railroad loco. But it's nice to see that they have upgraded that feature. Obviously, at some point, this tooling must have had an LED in the firebox. Otherwise, why would there be a gaping hole? But in terms of that, obviously, it's there. If you wanted to upgrade it, you could do that. I'm still yet to investigate if there is actually an LED board there, because it weirdly looks like it, but I don't think there actually is one there. But I will sort of update if I do find one. But yeah, in terms of that, obviously it's a bit hard to go above a quality of 3 stars. So yeah, I've awarded it that. The only difference in factor is the value. And obviously I'm taking into account for the whole train set as a whole, value-wise is pretty decent, because the new price for the Railroad B17 is 144, I think it was when I looked at Hornby.com. And I paid 158, I think it was, for, or no, sorry, it was, no, 148 was the price I paid for this train set. So obviously looking at inflation, it was about 5 years ago that I bought this. So looking at inflation, yeah, I mean, we've got a pretty good deal with this. We've got the loco, we've got 2 coaches. So the coaches, I will probably say a railroad price coach is about 25 to £30 now. So yeah, we've got £50 worth of coaches. We've got, I would say this loco is worth like 120. So we're at £170 just with the rolling stock. Obviously, we get the track on top of that, and you get the controller and the re-railer and the track mat as well. So all that obviously does add up, but realistically, you're getting quite a good bargain with this train set. The only thing why I haven't awarded it 5 stars is because I thought it at the time, and I still think it now. This train set needed track pack A included, and the main reason I say this is because I sort of compare this set to the HST GWR set, and that has track pack A in it. Obviously has the power car, the dummy car, and the one coach, but in terms of obviously the length of the train, it's about the same. So it's a bit of, and in terms of price as well, they're very, very similar price sets. So it is a bit of a shame that this didn't come with the track pack A. I think that would just add a little bit more playability to the set, especially for beginners. But again, it's one of those, you can't really grumble with the new price of what the B17 is coming back at. But anyway, that gives us an overall rating of 3.3 stars, which is obviously just above the halfway mark. So I think for a railroad loco, pretty decent, and especially for a train set, yeah, it's one of those that I can recommend. I think it's a really good beginner set, and I can't really fault the loco too much. It's a pretty decent running loco once it gets going. It's just obviously those slower speeds that you've got to be a little bit careful with. But again, like I say, you don't expect miracles from a railroad loco, and if you get them, you just think, wow, this is a good loco. But yeah, anyway, before I get off on more of a waffling tangent, I think it is a good point to probably end the video here. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. And what I'd like to know in the comments down below, do you have a B17 and is it one of the Railroad versions, or do you have the super detailed B17? I'd like to know that. Also, which renditions do you have in terms of livery and also name? That'd be great to know as well. And have anybody upgraded any of the Railroad locos? You know, have you put flickering fireboxes, or have you upgraded the DCC to sound fitted? It'd be great to know that. But yeah, that is all from me today, guys. I wouldn't mind if you could hit the subscribe button as well if you haven't already. Plenty more videos on the way, so if you're looking forward to that, hit the subscribe button and you will get notified when I upload them. But that is everything from me today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this one, and I will catch you in the next video. So take care, everyone. Bye-bye.